Welcome back to Well Keeping Moms. Today I'm going to show you how to embroider on a 100% polyester lightweight polo shirt. It's very lightweight, so you have to be very careful to get enough stabilizer on it. So I'm going to show you the process that I use. I have here 2 layers of iron-on interfacing, and as you can see I have them layered in 2 different directions. So we're just going to press that down. That's just temporary. We're just going to keep it there long enough to keep the shirt from stretching while it's being stitched. Okay, and here we have our cutaway stabilizer. Just going to give that a little spray with our 505. I'm not sure if you can see that. There we go. Give it a little spray. I'm going to take it away. I don't want to get this all over the shirt. Okay. And we're going to stick it on. Now we're going to turn it right side out. Be careful not to undo what we've just done. Okay, now the machine that I have is a Baby Lock Destiny 2. So with my Baby Lock Destiny 2 comes these little stickers. They're called the Perfect Positioning stickers. Okay? Now I already know where I want the sticker because I've measured these out already. I've already done quite a few of them. I have an order of 42, so I go through and I'll show you my process. To figure out where I need this to be centered, I measured the buttons, this button casing piece. Okay, and then halfway down is where I want center to be on my design. So this is my design. So that measurement for me is 6 1/4. But I'm not going to measure that just yet because I already know that that's where I want it to be. I also know this is 8 1/2 wide. Now I could do 4 1/4. I personally like to pull it over to 4. I like to have it a little closer to the center of the shirt and away from the armhole of the shirt, just so that there's no possibility of the logo getting lost in that arm movement. So we want to keep it a little closer to the buttons. So for me, I'm doing 4 over. So now that I have my 4 over, I'm going to go ahead and line up my ruler with the line on the grid. And I'm going to go down 6 1/4 because that is halfway down my button placements here. Now I'm going to go back and make sure that it's 4 inches on all 3 of these points over from the buttons, starting with the center always. Okay, now I'm going to take my perfect positioning dot and I'm going to slide it under the grid. I'm going to line it up. There's a little hole here, if you can see, in the grid, and I'm using the bottom dot. It's like a little snowman that I have here. Okay, and I'm using the bottom dot, and I'm putting that bottom dot in this center hole, and I'm lining up the lines on the grid with the lines on the dot, okay, on the sticker. Whoops, I think I just shifted that. I'm going to check it again because it has to be perfect. They all need to be the same. It's always better to measure as many times as you feel you need to be comfortable that it's going to be right. Okay, putting that underneath, we're going to line it up very carefully, and don't stick it down until you know you've got it just right. Okay, so there we have that. Now it's time to hoop it. So we're going to make sure that our hoop is opened up quite far because we have a lot of layers to go through. Okay, then we're going to put our grid back in the top of the hoop. We're going to line that up, and we're going to feel the hoop underneath, and we're going to push the bottom hoop around until it gets to where the top hoop is. Now, because I'm using a Baby Lock Destiny, which has a perfect positioning program, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I like to get it as close as possible just so that it looks right to my eye. Okay, so there we have it. And it's pretty close. I'm going to pull this out. Make sure that it's in there nice and snug, but not stretched. That's why we have the iron-on stabilizer in there. And then we're going to start tightening it. And keep checking, make sure that it's not puckering or moving. Because it's polyester and thin, and it has a tendency to slip through. So we just need to keep checking it and be careful. Now I'm going to take this over to my machine, and I'll show you how to use the program on the Destiny to give you that perfect positioning. Okay, now we're going to put our shirt into the machine, making sure that this is tight enough. If you're not sure if it's tight enough, go ahead and take the tool that came with your hoop, give it a little turn. Often I can go another few turns beyond what my hands can do. You don't want it too tight because you don't want it to pull and pucker your fabric, but okay. This is a large men's shirt, so there's a lot of fabric here that has to be moved out of the way. So take your time, just make sure you get it right, and you're being careful. You don't want to poke holes or make snags or anything. Okay, so we always want to check and make sure everything's out of the way from under the hoop. You'll see me do that a lot. I do it repeatedly just to make sure nothing's gotten under there. Okay, now with the perfect positioning, I have my design up, and I've already hit embroidery. Okay, so it's ready for me to just put my presser foot down and hit start. However, because we're using perfect positioning, we hit the edit button. Now I'm already in that menu. In the edit menu, under embroidery, you see the same little picture that's on our sticker. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. And yes, we do want to allow that. And we hit scan. And then it's telling us that the carriage of the unit will move, so we need to keep our hands out of the way. And now it's going to scan. Okay, and now it says we can take the sticker off. Now I'm going to show you the way that I have found it the best way for me to take this sticker off. If you just try to lift it up, it could be that you'll pull the shirt away from the iron-on interfacing. We don't want to do that. So we want to just carefully get your finger underneath and just sort of roll that sticker back. Okay, now before I get going, I have learned that this is just a whole lot of shirt to be in my way. So we're going to move some things around, and I use these. These are just little rubber bands, I guess, that are used for making the little bracelets. Okay, I just take a few of those here and there. Just get things out of the way so that they're not falling under the hoop or under the needle as I'm stitching, or under the embroidery arm. Okay, I can stick one right here. All right, hit OK, and I'm good to stitch. Okay, now we can pop off the elastics in the back so that we can get it through the hoop. take it out of the hoop. Pretty tight. Okay. Now we'll snip the threads, get them out of the way. Okay, now we're going to turn it inside out again. And we'll snip all the threads on the back. Okay, now I like to do one layer at a time. So I'm going to unstick the cutaway, and I'm going to very carefully cut around fairly close to the stitching, but not so close that I could possibly snip any of the stitching. And I like to put my hand in between, my fingers in between, so that I am absolutely certain that I'm not going to cut anything that I don't want cut. Okay, and now I'll pull away the iron-on. I'll do these two layers together. This is very thin iron-on interface thing. You don't want to use anything too heavy because it is just something that you want to be able to take right off. You don't want it to be good and sticky when you iron it on. It's not something you want to stay there forever. It was just to keep your shirt stable. Anything with a lot of stretch, you'll probably want to do that too. Okay, there's no residue or anything left on there from that. So we'll do the same thing this time. Put your fingers in behind, because now you're dealing with, you have a shirt back there. You want to be super careful not to cut the shirt. And as you can see, I'm actually pulling the shirt down with my other fingers to make sure that it stays out of the way. Okay, so there's the inside of the shirt. Let's turn it right side out and see what we have. And there we go. Now it does need to be pressed, it always does. Okay, and there it is, all pressed and ready to go. Hope you liked this video. Go ahead, click like and subscribe, or share it with someone else who's just learning how to do machine embroidery. We'll be sure to have some more embroidery videos coming up in the future. Hope you have a wonderful day.